listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
For over 130 years, Concordia University, Nebraska has been equipping students for service in God's church and the world. And today we get to take a closer look at what they do.
Today's episode of The Coffee Hour is underwritten in part by Concordia University, Nebraska. You can learn more about Concordia University, Nebraska at cune.edu.
Joining us today, Derek Englebart. He's Vice President of Institutional Advancement at Concordia University, Nebraska. Derek, welcome to The Coffee Hour.
Thanks, Andy and Sarah. Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Also joining us today, Scott Seevers. He's Senior Director of Development and Engagement at Concordia University, Nebraska. Scott, welcome to The Coffee Hour.
It's a joy to be here with you. Thank you.
We get to chat with our friends online, so we have a video chat and we get to see what things look like. And it looks beautiful there in Seward, Nebraska. And I'm a little envious because I've been to campus and I know how beautiful it is there. A little envious that you guys are sitting there in beautiful Seward, Nebraska. St. Louis is nice too, but kind of envious.
But
you
the
guys sitting in
cornfields,
those
man.
bright, sunny offices.
So nice.
Yeah, enjoying it. So what are students equipped for when they complete their Christ-centered education at Concordia University, Nebraska? Scott, you want to start us off with that? And we'll give Derek an opportunity to chime in as well.
Sure. The three imperatives in Concordia's mission statement are learn, serve, and lead. And we'd like to think that when students graduate from Concordia, they're prepared to do all those things in their families, in their communities, in their churches, and throughout the world. Mostly what we promise those students are able to do is based on our promises of our education here at Concordia, which is they will be steeped in a Christian community where from the time they wake up in the morning to the time they go to bed at night, there will be a person whose faith is important to them, that has a position of leadership and influence in their lives, and they will be immersed in that for their entire time at Concordia. They'll have an opportunity to think deeply, be engaged in deep inquiry, and that will always be in the context of faith. And so we'll explore the world and everything in it, but also really God's word in conjunction with that. And so they'll be equipped uniquely to do that. They'll be equipped with a sense of purpose. These are students who aren't just coming to Concordia to get a job, but be equipped for a vocation in their families and in their communities that serves God's kingdom. And finally, we promise that these are graduates who will be equipped as much as a 22-year-old can be with wisdom, the ability to take the knowledge that they have and combine it with their faith and their values that have been molded during their time here. Our graduates are our product, and Concordia's product is people who are equipped with those things to learn, serve, and lead in the church and the world.
Derek, what would you like to add?
Yeah, well said. It's really neat. We focus here in the Common Day of Concordia a lot on community, and to just piggyback off of what Scott said, our students today are finding their people. They're able to have meaningful conversations and build deep, meaningful relationships, not only with their Lord and Savior, but with each other. And I'm always proud to say that Concordia today is not my dad's Concordia of the 60s, but it also at the same time has not lost its faith formation and its purpose and its mission, starting its roots as a teacher's college and preparing many for being church workers. Now today we have so many different areas that we're able to build up those leaders in the business world, and agriculture, and in the medical fields, and it's really neat to see how they grow into their own person here and then go out into the world and serve others in doing that.
Yeah, you mentioned the growth from the Teachers College. What does a Christ-centered education at Concordia University, Nebraska look like for both the church work student and the liberal arts students that are seeking their vocational paths? Eric?
Yeah, again, it's focused around faith formation and gaining that knowledge and that purpose. For me, I was in the early 2000s, was a business administration major here, and to be able to go out and lead in my vocation and to be able to have the morals and values and the faith formation that happened here on campus, it only instilled in me those leadership capabilities and opportunities to go out and serve others either in the private sector or at a public state land-grant university, and to see it here on campus, whether you are a church worker and someone who's studying to be the next great educator or administrator, a pastor or a leader of parish music. A lot of those community foundations are built here in all those areas, and to let God's light shine on others and to go out and form that path for them is really neat to see, especially as they become prominent alumni and stay engaged with the university. We love to hear those stories.
Scott, from your perspective, what does the Christ-centered education look like at Concordia, Nebraska?
To Derek's point, it looks a little different. In the 1970s, everybody showing up at chapel on during the week was preparing for a church work career, and that has been a tremendous blessing to God's church and to the kingdom. Today, I think one of the greatest gifts Concordia has given to God's church is starting things like an ag program, where communities that have faithfully sent students here for years and years could only send students who are preparing for church work careers. Now we are sending back graduates in agriculture and business that are going back, and they are taking lay leadership positions in the church, in their congregations, and it is a great gift back to the church. So complementing the church work education that we provide are these other programs now that are a huge blessing to the kingdom.
To be on campus together with students who are preparing for church work, as well as students who are preparing for a career in a variety of things, to be on campus together, to build those relationships that Derek was talking about earlier, all around the Word. I know that chapel has really been a significant piece. Daily chapel on campus has been a significant piece of that formation, of that education. So much so that this year, I understand you can't even fit everyone in the chapel. It's so packed this year. Derek, do you want to speak a little bit about that faith formation that happens on campus and how chapel and other aspects of spiritual life are really vital to the life of a student on Concordia's campus?
Yeah, it's so neat to see, right? It's one of those great problems to have when you walk into chapel and you either need to head up to the balcony or stand in the back, and that's a great problem to have. But it doesn't stop with our students. Of course, it starts with our students. That's a majority of our chapel attendance. I really appreciate Dr. Bernard Bull, our president's leadership and the willingness to make that a part of our faculty and our staff's lives on a daily basis too. And of course, the more that we can do that together, the more that it helps with our interactions with our students and the vocation that we get to carry out here. But yeah, it's a great problem to have, and I think it just only speaks towards the culture and the mission, points back towards that mission statement that we have and how we carry it out here every day on campus.
Scott, do you have anything to add?
One of my favorite things about chapel is sometimes I walk in and I sit next to Norma Traster, who went to high school for 2 years at when Concordia had a high school. She's in her 90s now, and she lives here in town, and she takes the Seward Handy Bus over to Concordia. She does a little bit of walking with her walker and then comes to chapel. And what a joy it is to see her interacting with our students and to see the way that she knows and is known by the chaplain, by the students, and by the faculty and staff each day. And it's a wonderful testament to the expanse of this community. It's not just students, but it's so many people.
That's a beautiful story. I love that. I can see that in my head. I would like a normal here at the IC to sit next to us in chapel at the International Center. Derek, tell us your Concordia, Nebraska story. Why did you choose Concordia? How did it really prepare you for your future career?
Yeah, you bet. As an undergrad student, I came here, I think probably a little bit to my own. I had that internal conflict, right? My father went here that I referenced earlier. I graduated in 1968 and did his master's degree here as well. And then I had a brother that was here a few years ahead of myself. And really, when I looked at it, I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, so just 30 minutes up the road, and didn't quite know exactly what I was looking for in a university. But when I chose a school, it really boiled down to me just meeting the people and seeing the community that we talk about so often. It's really unlike anything I had met. I was fortunate enough, Scott and I actually both participated as student athletes and to be a part of a team and to get mentored by coaches, but then also to see that spill out into the classroom and see the hands-on teaching that happens, the meaningful conversations. And then that's ultimately what helped lead me back here, 25 years later in my professional life and in my vocation. After making some other stops and having some different experiences, it's that same sense of, again, just the mission and the faith formation is absolutely a huge part of it. And then the people that we get to work with and interact with on a daily basis, it's just such a blessing.
Scott, I understand you grew up as a faculty kid around campus. Tell us about your experience as a Concordia University, Nebraska student, and then we'll talk more about why you came back to Concordia.
My experience really started in the 1970s when I was just a little kid running around. Concordia at the time had over 70 houses that the university had built to rent to faculty and staff. And so my childhood was filled with bouncing out the back door and playing with dozens of faculty kids. My friends were faculty kids. My mentors were Concordia students and faculty, my classmates. It was beautiful. And it was something that I wanted to continue as an undergrad student. As Derek mentioned, I had an opportunity to, be in a church work program, but also participate in intercollegiate athletics, which was a huge blessing in my life, where, again, I was shaped by some powerful and wonderful mentors. And it led me to a career in church work. So I thank God every day that I had the opportunity to bless or to grow up in this community and on this campus with these kind of people around me.
We'll share more of your story right after we take a quick break. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Golseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
Are you looking to gain practical insights and spiritual encouragement in a format that fits your life? Discover the treasures of Christ-centered learning with Concordia University, Nebraska. Utilizing an online, self-paced learning platform, Concordia Nebraska's new Studia Vitae program will offer a non-credit continuing education courses featuring lifelong learning opportunities in a variety of focused areas. Courses begin in January 2026 and registration opens soon. Learn more at cune.edu/CEU. That's cune.edu/CEU.
Welcome back to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Golseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
We're talking with Derek Englebart, Vice President of Institutional Advancement at Concordia University, Nebraska, and Scott Seevers, Senior Director of Development and Engagement at Concordia University, Nebraska. And before we went to break, Scott, you were telling us a little bit about your Concordia, Nebraska story. Why did you choose to return to Concordia, Nebraska in a leadership role?
That's a really good question. And thank you for asking it, Sarah. I was teaching for a number of years at Lutheran West High School in Cleveland, and then got into the business world for a while, started a business with my wife, and she grew up in Northeast Ohio. And when we came back to visit a few times, she was so intrigued by Seward and by Concordia. And at some point, she just said, "We're moving back to Seward." And she was a city girl. And so I was shocked, but pleasantly surprised, and we moved back to Seward. And then just a couple of years later, there was an opportunity for me to be a part of the staff here at Concordia, and that's a dream come true. I assure you, I intended from the beginning, and I will hold to that. I will never work another place. I will work here till I retire.
Scott, do you have other stories of other alumni who have graduated from Concordia and now are thriving thanks to their Christ-centered education there at Concordia, Nebraska?
There are so many. There are so many students that maybe started off and continued in church work. We have the chance to meet and stay in touch with those students, Derek and I, in our current roles. There's just too many to name, but the one thing that's consistent is that we have a shared faith and a shared level of respect for the relationships that that happened here. I can't tell you how many people that we interact with on a daily basis. I'm saying this, Derek and I and our colleagues. The first thing if it's not the first question, it's the second or third. They're like, is Concordia still a Christ-centered environment? And they want to know that. And when they do know that, then everything else falls into place because so many other things have changed. But that the core of who we are and the character of this university is what serves people well in whatever profession, vocation they pursue or are led to during the course of the rest of their lives.
Derek, how about your experience with alumni and moving on from Concordia after they graduate and thriving in their vocations, their careers? What stories do you have to share?
Yeah, like Scott, there are so many. I think of personally live in Lincoln, Nebraska, again, just not too far up the road, but between Lincoln and Omaha. And then, of course, we have so many alumni that are doing so many good things across the country and across the world, really. To see, particularly, I always smile when I think of, folks that were on the campus the same time that I was, and I see them growing businesses. One of my teammates from basketball. He was on campus the last couple of days doing a lecture Tuesday evening, and then yesterday led chapel. And while he was at it, he got to visit his daughter that's in school here, his son who's at school here, and then also brought their son that's a junior in high school for a campus visit. And to see him, Dr. Peter Nasker, he's a professor at the seminary in Concordia in St. Louis there, and to see the great work that him and so many, not only the church workers, but also some of the business leaders and those that went on to be entrepreneurs. We have some successful alumni, one particular in Omaha that I've reconnected with in my time here that's doing some amazing things, and to see what they're doing there. And then again, to follow kind of the theme with Scott and myself returning back to Concordia, our pre-health area and our MICA Scholars Program, which is for those that are in pre-med or pre-health or occupational therapy, things like that. Our chemistry and biology departments, we have the Dr. and Dr. Mrs. and Mr. Jerkin that, went out to a place like Cal Berkeley and did their research and got their terminal degrees, and then they come back to a place like Concordia here in Seward, Nebraska, and just seeing their influence on, our students today, and that they're doing it all and leading in faith and doing it is just marvelous to see.
Yeah, both of you have mentioned that the alumni really showcase what Concordia, Nebraska is all about. And what difference have scholarships made for Concordia, Nebraska students, Derek?
Yeah, scholarship is so important, right? I have a college student right now, and I'll have another one here in a year and a half. And so it's a tricky time in higher education, no matter whether it's a private Christian small liberal arts university or if it's a large state institution. It's one of those where parents and students want to know the value that they're getting, but they have finances to consider and distance from home and everything else like that. And so we recognize that at Concordia, and it's a neat part of what our office gets to do every single day in our work is help bridge that gap in the cost of attending a school like Concordia. And we cannot do that without the support of our alumni and friends of the university. Every single student here on campus is getting scholarships and financial aid of some sort. And what makes our job fun is to work with every corner of campus and to work through the different departments and what the needs are for their students and for their faculty and staff, and then to be able to go out and share those stories with our supporters and to help grow those scholarship endowments and annual funds to help offset the cost for our students is so important today. And we can only hope that our students can get a glimpse of that and then someday return the favor down the road too.
Scott, how are scholarships funded? The things that Derek is talking about, how does all that happen?
Thank you for asking that. If you think about the cost of tuition, the cost to educate a student at Concordia, if that cost is X, Concordia tries to make that education as affordable as we can. And so the cost to attend, or the cost of tuition to the student, is X minus about $2,500. So we actually charge students about $2,500 less in tuition after all the aid is supplied than it costs us to educate them. And so, how do we bridge that gap? There are different ways we could do it. We could do it by charging more tuition. We could do it by diminishing the services and our other expenses. But what we choose to do is bridge that gap with scholarships and financial aid. And so that's where our donors step in. So the nearly $3 million a year that we raise in just annual fund gifts primarily bridge that gap that allows us to make Concordia education about $2,500 a year, or $10,000 over the course of 4 years, less expensive than what it would have to be if we charged what it cost us just to educate them. So it's vital. And it is a long, ongoing history of how we've approached trying to make Concordia affordable for our students.
Well, Scott, tell us about the Seeds of Generosity celebration going on right now at Concordia University, Nebraska.
I'm so excited about this. If you go back to Concordia's beginnings, it started with God's people in Nebraska who saw an opportunity to serve God and neighbor by having a place that would prepare church workers. And that started with the generous hearts of these Nebraskans who gave 20 acres of land and $8,000 to start Concordia at that time. And they started it at a time when, as President Bull likes to say, it was the worst possible time to start a university. We were in a drought. We had tough economic conditions, and people would still bring not only money, but chickens and produce and provide housing for students and faculty and staff. That is what sustained Concordia year to year. The end result of that, today we have thousands of grads, and 30% of the workers in the LCMS, the church workers in the LCMS, came through this campus that started in that humble way. The Concordia Fund and Seeds of Generosity celebrates that attitude about giving, the fact that people want to, they recognize that they've been blessed by God. They recognize that it's God's blessings to them and not their own, and they just feel joyful about sharing that with others because they see the future. Those seeds get planted every year, and those seeds yield a harvest every year, and that's what sustains Concordia. And so we think that is really worth celebrating. And so we're excited to do that in the month of March.
Yeah, tell us more about the details of what's happening with the Concordia Fund and Seeds of Generosity. Scott?
Sure. During the month of March, we have all gifts given to the Concordia Fund are matched by a generous alumni couple, and up to $50,000. Typically, we raise far more than that during the month, and that money is used immediately to pay for operational costs and used to supply scholarships for students. So Seeds of Generosity is a celebration of giving. People can give to anything they want at Concordia, but in that month of March, we really celebrate giving for the annual fund that blesses students, faculty, and staff immediately and helps us carry on our mission.
Derek, what would you like for us to know about Seeds of Generosity at Concordia University, Nebraska?
Yeah, something I'd just piggyback off of from what Scott was saying is that this is a little bit new to Concordia and to our alumni and our donors as well. Those that support Concordia are typically used to a day of giving, and that's a platform that many universities and other corporations use on an annual basis. And this is the second year where we decided, you know what, instead of one day of giving and kind of putting that urgency there, let's utilize a full month and let's have an excuse to just really celebrate the wonderful gifts that are given to Concordia and just show how those blessings are not only multiplied by our generous alumni that do the match, but also how it serves our students today and how it helps our faculty and our staff. And so it's been really neat. It gives us an opportunity to have a a platform to share some stories about our students, share some stories about supporters of this great place. Yeah, anybody can participate, and it's one of those where we want to make it easy for you. If you want to find an area of Concordia that you have a passion for and want to support, great. That being said, we tell people every day the most important gift that you can give to Concordia is to the Concordia Fund, and particularly our unrestricted gifts that can be utilized the way that the university needs it at this time.
Can we find out more about the Seeds of Generosity celebration at Concordia, Nebraska? Derek?
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is cune.edu/seeds, and check it out there. You could go to the cune.edu website, and even if you just go to our advancement page and look for either Scott and myself's contact information or anybody here in our advancement office, you can shoot us a note. But also, I'd particularly watch for some posting on social media. Again, we're going to share some videos and do some storytelling on there. Of course, they need to listen to KFUO and listen to great messages too, and see the prompts that are there. And then we'll have some other messaging on our website as well.
cune.edu/seeds. You can learn more about the Seeds of Generosity celebration going on this month at Concordia University, Nebraska. Our guest today, Derek Englebart, Vice President of Institutional Advancement at Concordia University, Nebraska. Derek, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much. I really enjoyed it.
And Scott Seevers, Senior Director of Development and Engagement at Concordia University, Nebraska. Scott, thanks for being our guest.
Thank you, Andy and Sarah.
You've been listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit kfuo.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.